autonomous and independent so that they can carry out their oversight role properly. Parliament, both houses did agree with us. They brought the bill to me, I signed the bill, and from this June, in the next budget, county assemblies will have their own independent budgets. They will no longer need to make friends with the county governments or to be friends of governors for them to get their resources. They can then, hopefully, we are going to be expecting of the county assemblies to exercise their oversight mandate much more robustly, because now they will not have excuses that in case they are too tough on the governors, they may lack the resources for their county assemblies. That will now be a thing of the past. And then number 4, on devolution again, we realize that just as we have the national administration, the county assemblies, members of county assemblies and governors have no pension. And we have made the strategic decision that the bill that was there in Parliament, which in my opinion has serious challenges, it is my position that we now agree in this PG, that it is only fair. Governors and members of the county assembly are elected leaders like us. The same way we have pension, it's only right that they have pension. We all agree on the principle of contribution. The same way we contribute pension, they too, and I don't think they have a problem contributing to the pension. So it is my request to this assembly that we change the law that currently is in Parliament so that we include governors and we make sure that pensions bill is contributory. Yesterday, I did sign into law the pension benefits for judges. I don't think we should leave our governors and county assembly members behind. So those are the 4 fundamental things that I wanted to say on matters to do with enhancing, supporting, and integrating devolution into our governance system. Finally, now that the court has pronounced itself on the matter of CDF, it is my belief that the bill on ward fund that currently is in Parliament should now be fashioned along the recommendation that has been made by the court and fast-track it so that our county assemblies can equally have a legal framework to guide on matters to do with ward fund. And I don't think this great assembly of PG has any problem with that. Do we really have a problem with that? Very good. So I think that will be the next thing we are going to do. And I appreciate that many governors have already implemented the ward fund even without this legislation. Now, let me go to the third issue that I thought is important for us. The matter to do with leadership, integrity, and the fight against corruption. This is a key commitment that we made under the 10-point agenda. Now, let me say the following on this matter. Number 1, as part of our commitment to leadership, integrity, and the fight against corruption, you know very well we had a candid conversation on holding ourselves as leaders to the highest standard of integrity. You remember, members here, I don't want to remind you, but you remember we had a difficult decision, we had a difficult conversation, right, on that matter. It is because we chose ourselves, these members, we chose that we need to raise the bar. And I want to thank members of Parliament here. You passed the conflict of interest bill, which I signed into law. If there is a demonstration of leaders sitting here that they want to be held to the highest standard of integrity, it is your passing of the conflict of interest bill. Today, it is law in Kenya. And I want to congratulate both houses for stepping up and measuring up to the yardstick of integrity. Number two, we have taken the deliberate decision that to eliminate corruption, to remove inefficiency, we must digitize all government services. Today, from 320 government services in 2022, we have 30,000 government services digitized. That has significantly eliminated bottlenecks. E-Citizen today collects more than 1 billion shillings every day. It is a platform that is traceable. It is a platform that's accountable. The old system where people were paying cash and paying through checks and paying through corners and paying through pay bills, we have stopped. And today, if you pay on E-Citizen, you don't need a receipt because it is traceable from who paid, for what service, to what account. We have digitized government services as part of our commitment to eliminating corruption. Number two, I did sign into law June last year the money laundering and anti-terrorism financing law. Again, as our commitment as an administration and as a country to transparency, to accountability, that illicit flow of money does not find its way into Kenya. As I speak to you, we also undertook three significant steps as a means of accountability and reducing on corruption. Professor Anyang', who was in our treasury, will tell you we have been struggling for the last almost 20 years to do what we call single treasury account. It has never happened. It has happened this year. We have been struggling to do what we call zero-based budgeting, meaning that we eliminate confusion. There was an element where people were saying corruption is budgeted. This time round, we are introducing greater accountability on budgeting to make sure that for every budget, every year we bring it to zero. We know what was achieved, what was not achieved, and then we plan again. So those two, and then finally, we are undertaking the e-government procurement. We know it has caused difficulties. It has not been easy. But it has not been easy because those people who are used to manipulating things and tenders and what have really fought this matter. We agreed on EGP like 8 years ago. I think it was 2020. It has been in the books. It has never been implemented. We have implemented it this year. Why? Because we want government procurement to be transparent. We want accountability. And we want to know if you are selling to government, are we getting a fair price? Who is supplying the tender? For how much? And it must be open in a portal where all people involved can follow, so that if I don't get the tender, it means I was not the lowest or I did not meet the qualifications. That is what we are doing in matters to do with integrity and making sure that leadership is held to account. Let me also say that we have enhanced the place of the Kenya Anti-Corruption Commission. They have concluded 143 cases, investigations. They have already obtained in the last 3 years 86 convictions, and because we have always been told convictions is a challenge, we have achieved 86 convictions, and especially we have enhanced their capacity to seize assets. So we've already obtained assets of 9.8 billion, which have now come back to government, and we are pursuing assets worth 22 billion, assets that were obtained by corrupt means. And we say those assets must be surrendered to the government of Kenya. On the fourth item that I wanted to speak to is on the matter of debt. In fact, if you look at the 10-point agenda, there was a bullet, standalone, national debt. The national debt has been a very big challenge to Kenya. In fact, debt almost brought our country to its knees. You heard what Professor Kidure said, that in 2022, there were 6 countries that everybody believed in the world they were going to default on their foreign financial obligations. One of them was Kenya. And why was Kenya there? Because we had the highest, the largest Eurobond of $2 billion. And I remember my good friend John Badi saying, this debt was there, everybody knew it was coming up, and nobody was doing something about it. We were just waiting. And so, the first thing when we came into office, we said we can't. This country cannot default, because many people don't understand the consequences of a country defaulting on its foreign obligations. It just turns your economy into something else. Just look at what happened in one of our neighboring countries. I don't want to mention names. When they defaulted, their currency was devalued by 100%. Just imagine Kenya's currency moving from 120 to 240. Would we have a country left here? And there were very many people who were persuaded that the Kenya currency was going to go to 200. In fact, I remember speaking to one of the bankers, who is no longer my friend, because he was among the people who, imagined they were already piling up dollars, because they imagined that when it gets to 200, they will make a killing. Unfortunately for them, they had to make losses, because the 200 shilling dollar did not happen. So we had to intentionally deal with the debt. What have we done on matters to do with debt? Number one, we made sure that we did whatever it took. And I appreciate that I had to make some very difficult decisions for us to be able to escape that, for we had to cut down on spending by about 300 billion. We had to remove subsidies on unga. We had to remove subsidies on fuel. We had to eliminate, we had to stall some of our projects, because we had to pull back from continuous borrowing. That's number one. Number two, we did not just avoid default. We now went into a plan on how do we reorganize our debt. How do we successfully negotiate our way? I can confidently, that's why we went to the market. We went to the market in February 2024. We went to the market in February 2025. We went to the market in October 2025. And we went to the market again this February. To do what? To do liability management. The debts that were due next year, we now have no debts due in 2027. We don't have we have a small debt due in 2028. Then we will go to 2037. We have reorganized our debt portfolio so that it doesn't threaten our fiscal sustainability. And I must thank John Badi and his team at Treasury. They have done a very commendable job. We have also engaged some of our lenders. I do not want to mention names. I have had to go and sit with some of the lenders and tell them, guys, some of these loans, the prepayment is too steep for us. You know, some of the interest rates you are charging us are very high. And we have successfully managed to reduce some of the interest rates. We have managed to change some of the structure of the debt so that instead of too much upfront payment, we have managed to negotiate to make them concessional. And today, I can confidently tell the country that we have avoided situations that would put a lot of strain in our budget. And number three, we have also decided that we are going to be innovative. We are going to be creative in how we do public assets. It is no longer tenable for us to continue borrowing. That is why we have said we are not taking any borrowing resources unless it is absolutely necessary. I see some people say there has been a disagreement between Kenya and the IMF. There is no disagreement. We have just agreed on what to do. We have agreed that if we need your money, we will come for it. If we don't need it, we will do with the resources we have. I mean, how does that amount to a disagreement? Are we together? Yes. I mean, is it wrong to be able to stand on your own and do your own stuff? Is that a weakness or a strength? Yes. To me, akili bana. So, what have we done? We have decided to have alternative instruments of financing our development. We went the route of securitization. Many people told us, oh, you are going to do this. Because of securitization, and I must thank members of parliament. When I negotiated with you and I told you guys, forgo these 7 shillings, it will help us raise money. We raised 175 billion shillings. We returned all the contractors to our roads. We paid them. Today, we have 6,000 kilometers of road going on in Kenya. We have 90% of our contractors are back on site, and new roads are now being contracted because we decided not to continuously depend on the budget. We looked for alternative instruments of financing our road infrastructure. We are doing the same with Talanta. We are doing the same. Look, when I say innovative, I was explaining today in the morning, how did we decide to finance Talanta? The sports fund has been a fund that has been there forever. That sports fund has not achieved much because you find a few, a small project there. Most of the money is lost. Another project there, some cabro in some place, some gate in some place. We decided that instead of spending this money with no accountability, let us consolidate it and do a big project. Today, and somebody was saying, William Ruto has pledged for 15 years money from the sports fund. Yes, we have done it. But at least we have Talanta Stadium complete, standing here. Tell me, sports fund has been there for 20 years. Which other project has it done? Can you show me one project? At least I can show you what it's going to do for 15 years. Are we together? Yes, that's how innovation works. How are we building bombers? Have you seen any budget have you seen any approval of any line of budget in Parliament for bombers? We are building bombers using the tourism levy. Tourism levy has never done anything for this country for the last 30 years. Nothing. Kuna kitu mara sijui nini naenda kusponsor kitu moja hapo, naenda kusponsor pale, nagawiwa sijui waziri achukue pesa ngapi, sijui nani achukue pesa ngapi. Today, that money is building bombers. Friends, that is how thinking out of the box looks like. Kwani mlikuwa mnafikiri thinking out of the box ni kufanya kitu gani? You know, if we had gone to borrow money to build all this, we would be in trouble. You know, so we have decided to think outside the box. Securitization. We are discussing today proceeds from some of our mature assets. When we discussed about selling a stake in Kenya Pipeline, many people said, oh, you want to sell the family jewel, or you want to sell this. We've done privatization before. We privatized Kenya Airways, we privatized KCB, we privatized Safaricom, we privatized I don't know which company. But today, we cannot account for the proceeds of that privatization. We are doing it differently. And that is why Parliament passed the National Infrastructure Fund. It is not an experiment, as I said yesterday. It is what other countries have done. It's what India has done. It's what the UK has done. It's what Ghana has done. It's what South Africa have done. And that is the way to the future. This morning, Leo, I rang the bell at Nairobi's Securities Exchange, and we collected 106 billion from the sale of our stake in Kenya Pipeline IPO, and we are going to put that money in the National Infrastructure Fund. You know, let me explain to you. If we don't have the National Infrastructure Fund, the National Infrastructure Fund gives us a different leverage. It multiplies that 106 billion 10 times. You know, not through magic, no, through innovation, creativity, and financing. And that is how we are going to have additional resources to do our roads, to generate more energy, and to do what our senior here, party leader, was saying. He said, we pretend that there is always an emergency in northern part of Kenya, when we know it's going to happen. Because of what we are doing now, if you read today's newspaper, we have already advertised for several dams. So when I talked about us using the National Infrastructure Fund and proceeds from privatization for building infrastructure, we are not talking about the future. We are talking about doing it now. We've already done the contract for Jomo Kenyatta. That is where about 15 billion shillings is going to go, and that 15 billion shillings is going to enable us raise 150 billion. Just by putting 15 billion. It's the same thing we're going to do with the dams. If you check today, we've already advertised several dams, because that is how we're going to cure the problem of food insecurity. Going water harvesting, water storage, irrigation. That's how we are going to eliminate the shame of hunger in our republic. And we are beginning that journey today. Many people were asking themselves, will the National Infrastructure Fund be accountable? I want to tell you, yes, it's going to be accountable. It's going to be accountable to Parliament. It's going to be audited by the Auditor General. It's going to engage Cabinet, and we are going to make sure that no shilling of that money is going to go anywhere except for productive national infrastructure. I will be appointing the board tomorrow. The governing council tomorrow. Then they will be the one to competitively recruit the board, because we want to inject transparency into that space. I was saying this in reference to debt, how we are dealing with debt, and how we want to make debt not a threat to the Republic of Kenya. We've, number one, we have negotiated with our lenders. Number two, we have rearranged using